All right, let's look at just number 1 real quick. What was the biggest number that went into 64? 16 is the biggest one. There you go. So guys, look, if you know 8's not the biggest one because when you took that out, 8 and 6 were left inside. What number still goes into 8 and 6? 2. That's how you know 8 wasn't the biggest one. Do they have a letter in common? X, right? All right, then you open a parentheses. All right, Wilmer, what's 64 divided by 16? 4. And then Riley, if you had 4 X's and you took out one of them, how many's left here? No. You had 4 X's, just the X's, and you only took out one of them. 3. There you go. All right, Jalen, what's 48 divided by 16? 3. All right, you took out your X. So, Jose, what's left if you take out your X? Y to what power? There you go. Perfect. All right, let's skip number 2 for right now because it has 4 terms, and let's try number 3 real quick, okay? Y'all try number 3 real quick. Try number 3. Same thing, you just got to look at all 3 of them, okay? Math workshop test on Monday. You guys. All right, see if you got the same thing on 3, okay? Check your work on 3. All right, let's try 5, okay? I'll try 5. Let's try 5. All right, what number did y'all find went into 24 and 18.6? All right, what letter or letters do they have in common? A and B. There you go. All right, Nicole, what's 24 divided by 6, babe?
4.
4. And Aaron, if I took out 1A and 1B, what's left here? Another A and B. Perfect. All right, Dylan, what's 18 divided by 6? 3. And Bryson, if I took out the A and B, what's left here? There you go. Perfect. Y'all okay? All right, now, 2, 4, and 6, those are different, okay? Because how many terms? This one had 2, this one had 3, and this one had 2, right? So if they have 2 or 3, you use GCF. But what happens when they have 4 terms, like these? There was a different word, started with a G. It's a word. You have 4 terms. Come on, you've done it for 2 years. Algebra 1 and geometry. What's it called? Grouping. There you go. Very good. So I want you to put that next to all 4 of those, okay? Make yourself a note. You got a test on Monday on this stuff, okay? The test on Monday. All right. So since Wilmer was telling us parentheses, he is right. You're going to group the first 2 together. Now watch how I do this one. I'm going to group the second 2, but I'm going to keep that plus sign because he's important, okay? All right, so cover the second 2 up. What do those first 2 have in common? Just an A, right? Is everybody seeing it there? Y'all okay? So they just have an A in common. So you can take an A out, which would leave you with A minus 4C. All right, now this guy is important right here because this tells you your sign that you're going to take out. So you're going to put a plus sign there. All right, so we're going to cover up the first one now. What do the second 2 have in common? B. And that'll leave you with an A minus 4C. All right, and you know you did it right. You're on a test Monday on Math Workshop on factoring, and you know you did it right. Why? What happened? There you go. These 2 guys right here are exactly the same, okay? Y'all good with that? All right, so that leaves me with A minus 4C. And if I take those 2 guys out, what's left? A and, what's it say? Plus B. There you go. All right, let's try number 4, okay? All right, number 4 has 4 terms, right? So you're going to group the first 2 together. All right, and then I'm going to put my second parentheses to include that plus sign right there, okay? All right, look at just the first 2, 21 and 84. What's the biggest number that goes into both of those? Think about the numbers that go into 21. 7? All right, let's see if 21, does 21 go into 84? Yeah, so it'd be 21. And what letter do they both have in common? K squared. There you go. All right, so I took out the 21, and I had 3 K's, but I took out 2 of them. How many's left? 1. There you go. All right, what's 84 divided by 21? 4, and I took out both of the K's. Y'all okay? All right, and then this guy right here tells you what sign to put. What sign you're going to put? Addition, there you go. And you have 15K and 60. What do they have in common? Bigger. Big, big, big. 10 didn't go to 15. 15, there you go. And then 60 divided by 15 is 4. All right, and you know you did it right because these 2 guys came out to be the same thing. All right, so you've got K minus 4. And if you take those out, what 2 terms are left? 21K squared and plus 15. There you go. All right, we got one more. All right, here we go. We have 105 and we have 175. What's the biggest number that goes into 105 and 175? Bigger. 35. Yep, 35. All right, they both have an n. What's the biggest one they have? Squared. There you go. All right, Nathan, what's 105 divided by 35? 3. All right, Riley, here we go again, baby. Ready? I had 3 n's. I took out 2 of them. 1. Perfect. All right, Sailor, what's 175 divided by 35? 5. Perfect. And Carrington, if I took out n squared to the front, what's here with the 5? Huh? Nothing. Very good. All right, so Jalen, this sign right here tells me what sign to take out to the front. So what am I going to put right here? Subtract. Very good. And Madison, you got 75 and 125. What's the biggest number that goes into both of those? 25. Perfect. All right, so you got to be careful here, okay? So, Hunter, you got negative 75 divided by negative 25. How much is that? 3n. Very good. All right, and Alyssa, I have negative 125 divided by negative 25. How much is that? Positive 5. Perfect. All right, so these two are the same, so I know I did it right. So 3n plus 5. And AJ, what 2 terms are left if I take out the 3n plus 5?
35 squared.
Yeah? Perfect. There you go. Y'all okay? All right, here we go. So we have new notes to do today. We're going to graph again first. So all we're going to do is review from Algebra 1. That's it. And I need you to master that stuff, because then what we're going to do, pass the whole thing back. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add on the Algebra 2 stuff. So you have to get the Algebra 1 stuff before we can move on to the Algebra 2 stuff. We're going to build on it. All right, so let's look at our learning target on the board up here. What's the very first thing that we're going to learn how to do? By graphing, okay? Systems, meaning there's more than one. So when you get your stuff, let's go ahead and flip to the first page. And when we graph, what's so special about graphing? What do you have to do before you can graph something? Solve it for what? For what letter? For y. There you go. All right, so here we go. We're on page 1. And we have to solve it for y before we can do anything else. So let's make ourselves a little note, because if you notice on your learning targets for today, there are 3 different things that we're going to do. So right here, let's make ourselves a note. Get y by itself. Make yourself a note. Guys, you take notes so that you can use them to look back at later. You don't take notes just to take notes. So we get y by itself. All right, so all that stuff at the top, are y'all cool with not doing all that stuff and just drawing a picture instead? Y'all cool with that? Okay, because y'all are very visual. So at the very top of your paper, here we go. You can mark all this stuff out, because we're not going to do that. Well, we are going to do it. We're just going to do a picture instead. So basically, this paragraph is going to tell you this picture that we're doing. There are 3 different types of graphs. There's one type of graph where they cross at one point, which we call that a one solution. There's one type of graph where they become the same line, And then there's a third graph where they're parallel. How do you know that they're going to be parallel before you graph it? What do they have in common? Side by side. No, before you even graph it. Same what? Same slope. Very good. All right, so here's what we're going to call them. You ready? All this paragraph says is that if they cross at one point, this is important, they're called consistent and independent. This is like your cheat sheet. Remember how page 28 was your cheat sheet before for translations? This is your cheat sheet for this. If they're the same line, you call them consistent and what do you think? Dependent. There you go. And then if they're parallel lines, we call them inconsistent. All right, here we go. If you're very visual, you might want to grab two different colors, a pencil and a different color. All right, so the very first one, we just have two of them. So you have x plus y, or x plus 2y equals 6, right? So what do we have to do on that? What do we have to do on that graph? Get y by itself. There you go. So what do we have to do first to get y by itself? Huh? Subtract the x. There you go. Come on, we got to get going. Let's go. Stay with me. There's a 1 right there. All right, then what do I have to do? One more step. Divide each one by 2. There you go. All right, Mallory, what's my slope on this one? Very good. And Jalen, what's my y-intercept? 6 divided by 2. 3. There you go. All right, Aaron, so my y-intercept tells me to do what on my graph? On the y-axis. Very good. And Lynn, the negative 1 over 2 slope, what does this tell me to do? But if it's negative 1, what's that tell me to do? Up or down? And if it's positive 2, it doesn't. I don't say over. Which way do I say? Right or left? Positive 2, so to the left? Okay, so tell me what this tells you to do. You just said it. And? Perfect. Very good. Very good. And we're going to go as big as this graph will let us go. All right, AJ, instead of going down 1 and right 2, I can finish the rest of this graph. So what can I do instead of down and right? Perfect. All right, why is it a solid line? Like last test we had dotted lines and solid lines and we shaded and everything else. How did you know this one was a solid line? Because it's equal to, right? How do I know I'm not going to shade up and down? Perfect. Man, y'all are smart. Very good. All right, let's go to the next one. So if you got a different color, let's grab that one. So I got 2x plus y equals 9. All right, Hunter, what would I do first in order to get y by itself? Perfect. All right, Carrington, what's my slope on this one? All right, make it a fraction. What would it be? Over 1. Yep. All right, Sailor, what's my y-intercept on this one? 9. Perfect. So I'm going to have to go up 9, which means I have to go 1 off the graph. And my slope of negative 2 over 1, Alyssa, what's negative 2 over 1 tell me to do? Perfect. So the whole point of doing that is so that now you can see this point where they cross is where they're both equal. So what is that point of solution right there? 4, 1. Perfect. Which means if you were to plug in 4 and 1 into both those equations, they would be equal right there. But what do we call that, guy? Look back at your cheat sheet. Consistent and independent. Very good. Very good. All right, let's move on to number 2. Y'all try number 2. Solve both of those for y, and then graph it. Number 2. Solve both of those for y, and then graph it. Finish. Go ahead and see if you can try 3 and 4. Okay? See if you can try 3 and 4. All right, I'll check your work on 2. See if you got the same thing. All right, guys, we got to hustle because we got some more stuff to learn, okay? So some of us may need to watch the video tonight, which is fine. All right, here we go on number 3. Y'all okay on that one for those of you that are on 3? The first one? Okay, let's look at the second one. All right, what about that one? Did y'all get that? Okay. All right, so if they cross at one point, this point right here where they cross is where they're both equal. That's where they're both equal. So what is that point where they're both equal? 4 and 0, Nathan. Very good. All right, so Mallory, what do we call them? Look back at your cheat sheet if you need to. What do we call them if they cross at one point? Huh?
I didn't write down the number. I was showing
Did you look at? Did you write down number 1? This is the same as number 1. All right, Aaron, help her out. What do we call it? So you're writing it down, Mallory? Okay. All right, y'all okay with that one? Yes? No? All right, let's look at number 4, okay? Look at number 4. We got to solve those both for y, okay? So let's solve those both for y. Number 4. Solve those both for y. Got a hustle, so hold on a second. So when you finish, you should get, they come out to be the same line, okay? You should get, they both came out to be 2x minus 3. And what do we call them if they come out to be the same line? Consistent and dependent. Very good. All right, so we're going to skip down to substitution. Okay, we're going to skip down to substitution. If you need number 4, what could you do tonight? Watch the video real quick, okay? Because you can just skip through and find the one you need. All right, let's look at substitution. Let's make ourselves a note. You ready? When we were graphing, what was the note we left ourselves to remember about? Get y by itself, right? All right, so when you have substitution, you get any letter by itself. Make yourself a note, okay? You take notes so that you can look back at them later to help you. Make yourself a note. We're about to move on. Okay, so let's look at number 1. Do you see a letter? Doesn't matter which one, but do you see a letter that's already by itself? Nothing else is around it. All right, which one? X on the top one right here. So you go to the cashier and you give her $5. What could she substitute that $5 for? How much? 5 ones, right? So it's the same thing here. Bless you. You can. I don't want to put X anymore. What could I substitute instead of X? There's a good reason why I'm pointing to it and why I circled it. Just read what I circled, guys. Negative 5y plus 3. Okay? So what letter is that equal to? X. So now I'm going to take that. I'm going to plug it in to the other equation. Okay? This is from Algebra 1. This is nothing but a review so far. All right, so I'm going to say 3. Bless you. But I don't want to put X anymore. What do I want to put instead of X? Very good. All right, let's keep going with our equation. What else does it say besides 3x? All right. And we do that because now what's the only letter you see up there? Y. And you can figure out what y equals. So what do we need to do first to figure out what y equals? Distribute the 3. There you go. So that would be negative 15y plus 9 minus 2y equals negative 8. And now this is where chapter 1 came in, and some of us really struggled about this right here. The negative 15 and the negative 2, you tried to change the signs. We are not changing any signs, okay? They are both on the left side of that line. So you just say negative 15 minus 2. How much is that? Negative 17. And then bring down your plus 9, and then equals negative 8. Don't go changing any signs. All right, but now, you see how the 9 and the negative 8 are on different sides? That's when you take the different sign. That's when you change the sign. So now you're going to subtract 9 like you always do. And negative 8 minus 9 is negative 17. All right, divide by negative 17. And what's y equal? 1. But you only found one number. Look back at number 3. When we got to figure out where they equal. And when we figure out where they equal, we had an x and we had a y. The only thing we found so far is the y. So what can we do with this guy in order to figure out what the other letter is? Plug it back in. It doesn't matter which one you plug it back into. Do you want to plug it into the top one? Or do you want to plug it into the bottom one? Top one's going to be the easiest, right? So I have x equals negative 5y plus 3. And which letter does this guy go in for? Into the y. There you go. So that's negative 5 plus 3. And guys, what's negative 5 plus 3? Negative 2. And your answer that you circle is the coordinate. What's the x value of your coordinate? And your y value? And that's your answer. Y'all okay? Is this bringing back some memories from 9th grade? Okay, at least we remember doing it. Okay, number 2. When you use substitution, you got to have a letter by itself, right? Do you have a letter on either one of these that's completely by itself? No. All right, So which one of these is going to be easier? The second one. Why is the second one easier to deal with? They don't have any numbers, right? And I can just move something over and I'm done. It doesn't matter which one you deal with. Do you want to get x by itself or do you want to get y? It doesn't matter. You want to get x? Okay. So how would I get x by itself here? What would I need to do? Subtract the y. It doesn't matter. You can do the y if you wanted to. All right, here we go. So we're going to subtract y. Now do I have a letter by itself? Yeah. So I'm going to take this guy, negative y minus 12, and he's going to go into the other equation. For which letter? For x. There you go, right here. All right, so I'm going to put 2, but then I'm not going to put x. I'm going to put negative y minus 12. Then what's after that? Equals 6. Very good. All right, what can I do to finish solving that for y? Distribute the 2. To be negative 2y minus 24 minus 3y equals 6. All right, now here's where you got to be careful. Draw that line on that equal sign if you need to, okay? You got negative 2y and you got negative 3y. Do not change any signs. They're both over here on the left. So you got negative 2 minus 3. How much is that? Negative 5y. There you go. And then bring down your minus 24 and bring down your equal 6. Then you've got 24 and 6 on different sides. So that's when you do different signs. You're going to do the opposite sign. Yep, there you go. Divide by negative 5, and what do you get? Y equals negative 6. Very good. But that's not your answer. So now I got to take that guy, that negative 6, and I got to plug it back in. I have 3 different options. I got the one where we solved it. I've got the x plus y equals negative 12. And I've got the 2x minus 3y equals 6. Either one of those 3 will work. But what's the easiest one? Okay, you want to plug into that one? So I have x equals, but that negative means it's a negative 1, then times y, which was negative 6, and then minus 12. So that's positive 6 minus 12, which is negative 6. All right, and your answer is the ordered pair. What's the ordered pair? Negative 6 and negative 6. So if you were to graph those, what's happening at negative 6 and negative 6? They're crossing right there. Come on, let's flip over. We got at least one more, if not 2 more, to try to get done. All right, here we go. Number 3. Direction said substitution, right? So in substitution, you have to get a letter by itself. Do you see a letter in either one of these equations that's really close to being by itself? Which one? That negative x, right? All right, so I'm going to take that guy, and I'm going to add 3y to the other side. Because I need to get a letter by itself. So be careful. I have negative x equals 3y minus 6. And I'm not done yet because x is not by himself yet. I have to get rid of the negative with the x. So how do I do that? Divide by negative 1. There you go. And now x is by itself. All right, so I'm going to take this guy right here, and I'm going to substitute him for x in the other equation. Right there. All right, so I got 9y plus 3 but I'm not going to put x. I'm going to put negative 3y plus 6, and then it equals 18. All right, then we got to distribute. What do you notice happened? 9 minus 9 is 0, yep. So you have 18 equals 18. Is that true, guys?
Yes.
They're the same exact thing. What else did we do earlier where they came out to be the same exact thing?
Consistent.
Consistent and dependent. Very good. There's no way to figure out an x and a y, because every single x and y you ever plug in are going to be the exact same thing. All of them are the same. There's no one point where they cross. Every single one's the same. All right, let's look at number 4. Number 4, oh my gosh, they give you a's and b's instead of x's and y's. It's okay. Same rule. I need to get a letter, any letter, by itself. So which letter is going to be easy to get by itself? The A right there on top, okay? So let's solve that one. All right, so I can take this 3b minus 22, and I can plug it into the other equation for A. Because the reason I'm plugging it in for A is because it said A equals right there. All right, so here we go. Let's follow this. It says 4, and then we're not going to put A. We're going to put 3b minus 22, and then plus 2b equals negative 4. All right, let's distribute that 4. All right, I got a 12 and a 2. They're on the same side. So just add them together. What's 12 plus 2? 14. All right, now what would I do? Add 88. There you go. One more step. What would I do from there? Divide by what? 14. Perfect. And what's 84 divided by 14? Perfect. Okay? Yeah? All right. Now I got to plug it back in. I have 3 options. It does not matter which one you plug into. You have the original 2, and you have the one where you solved it. Which one do you want to plug into? It doesn't matter.
A equals 3.
Yeah, this one's going to be the easiest one, right? Okay. So we have A equals 3, but I'm not going to put B because I know what B equals. I'm going to put 6. So that's 18 minus 22, and that's negative 4. So how do you know which one goes in which order in the ordered pair? Very good. Alphabetical order. X and Y are in alphabetical order, so A and B are in alphabetical order. So negative 4 and 6. Homework tonight. What's your homework tonight? 3 whole problems. What is it? Page 11. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, please make sure you do those for homework. So next week's the end of the quarter, and it's going to be hard to get stuff made up. All right, go ahead and put my calculators back up real quick.